We welcome you live to Richmond International Raceway for our NASCAR Winston Cup live coverage of Busch Pole qualifying for the 39th running of the Pontiac Excitement 400. Unfortunately, it has been raining much of the day here. Overcast skies and a steady drizzle. That's sort of what it's looked like for much of the day. And there has not been a race car on the racetrack thus far. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch along with Benny Parsons and Ned Jarrett. And guys, those guys in the garage area have missed a lot of valuable practice.
Exactly. The team's had 2 days to make their practice. They'll practice, make their changes, and time to think about changes. But now, Ned, they'll have to cram 2 days into what, 2 hours?
Yeah, and the fact that some of them have brand new race cars here that have never been on a racetrack, and they were looking forward to the practice they get today to sort of sort those cars out. Now they don't have that.
And also engines.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of teams come here with qualifying engines, plan on changing after qualifying. Now they've got to put the race engine in before they ever put a lap on the racetrack.
Well, it may be damp and cool here right now, but the hottest commodity on the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit is Jeff Gordon, and he's standing by with our Bill Weber.
Well, Jerry, here's the man everybody's talking about, Jeff Gordon. 2 wins already this season, looking for number 3 here, defending champ of this race, but nothing today, huh?
No, it doesn't look like we're going to get to go play. Every time it looks like it's going to stop, it comes down again. But, you know, I'm sure we'll get it going tomorrow.
Jeff, right now, 1 round of qualifying, 2 laps. Does that change your strategy at all?
Well, it kind of changes what everybody has to do in the garage here. We all, not all of us, but a lot of us have put our race motors in because we're just going to, we don't know what the time schedule and if we're going to run out of time tomorrow. So, you know, we're going to have to qualify the race motor, which is a good race motor, so I'm happy about that. But, you know, 2 laps here is tough, especially if the weather stays cool like this. It's hard to get a hold of this place in 2 laps, slipping and sliding. But, you know, Richmond's been good to us. This is a good car for us. This car's won some good short track races, but it doesn't always qualify well. So qualifying is something we're really going to focus on. Okay, well, good luck in qualifying. I'm going to slide over here and talk to your crew chief who's looking over the schedule for Saturday. How does this affect you? Obviously, you've had to adjust to the weather and to the schedule changes.
Well, it's they're going to give us a good amount of practice. We've got 2 hours of practice in the morning, but we really won't use it because you only get 3 sets of tires. We went ahead and put our race motor in because we need to work on race setup here, and we're going to go ahead and if you don't get a lot of your stuff done in the morning and they have any kind of weather at all, you're on a 2-minute drill all day long, and that can push you into making a mistake sometimes, and we just don't want to make a mistake. So we went ahead and we're going to go with the race motor. I think we sat on the pole once here before with a race motor, and since it's a short race, we're not going to be concerned.
Tremendous success not only for you guys with 2 trips to victory lane, but for all 3 Hendrick cars, Ray. Why?
Well, I think that shows the depth of the Hendrick organization. You know, it's a lot stronger than a lot of people think, and you know, when you have a good, strong organization like that and you concentrate on what you're doing, you know, good things are going to happen. And we really do share a lot of information. We share people, teammates. You know, Andy just moved over to 25 car to help us out, and that's why that organization is strong.
Okay, well, good luck here on Saturday.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that's Ray Evernham, Jeff Gordon's crew chief, and they have announced down here there will be no Winston Cup activity on the track here for Friday. So qualifying, all positions, 2 laps, come Saturday morning, tentatively scheduled, weather permitting, at 11:15 a.m.
Well, it is official then now. So 95 race cars in the garage area between the Winston Cup and Busch Series guys, and tomorrow they've got a full court press, a full day to try to get these cars to qualify.
And probably tonight they'll be going over the books, going over the notes, trying to figure out exactly what they need to put in the car for that 2-hour practice session in the morning.
Yeah, they'll have to go back to last year's records and start from there, because they usually use most of Friday setting the car for qualifying. Now they got to use what practice time they have tomorrow setting the car for the race and let it do what it will in qualifying.
Ray Evernham put it best, a 2-minute drill tomorrow, and we'll have it live at 11 a.m. We told you we'd cover Busch Pole qualifying for the Pontiac Excitement 400, and indeed we will. 11 a.m. tomorrow Eastern time on the Deuce. Then our live coverage at 1 o'clock Eastern of the Hardee's Fried Chicken Challenge 250 NASCAR Busch Series event. And then happy hour, the quickest hour in motorsports, the most critical 60 minutes of practice. We'll have that at 6 p.m. Eastern time. And then on Sunday, we'll begin today with NASCAR Today, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, simulcast on ESPN and the Deuce, and our live flag-to-flag coverage. Bob Jenkins will be on hand to call the action at 1 o'clock Eastern time, the 39th running of the Pontiac Excitement 400. And tonight, John Kernel will have all the action on RPM tonight on ESPN2. A lot of interesting stories, including some breaking news involving one of NASCAR's premier manufacturers. Right, Bill Weber?
That's right, Jerry. The Wall Street Journal reported in Friday's edition that the Ford Motor Company will cease production of the Ford Thunderbird at the end of the 1997 calendar year. They will then bring the Thunderbird back after the year 2000. Now, obviously, the Thunderbird is Ford's #1 mark in NASCAR Winston Cup and in Busch Series racing. The Journal reports this is in response to the declining sales of two-door sedans. About 97,000 or so Thunderbirds were sold last season, a rapid drop-off from previous years in the past. Now, I did talk to one NASCAR Winston Cup crew chief who said if the Thunderbird did cease production after 1997, it would not have a huge effect on the Winston Cup Series, because basically the car has gone unchanged since 1989. Now, a Ford spokesperson here at the track would neither confirm nor deny the report in this morning's Wall Street Journal. We'll have more on that story tonight with John on RPM tonight at 7 Eastern.
Boy, to paraphrase that old song, we've had fun, 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 but now Ford is taking our T-Bird away.
But, you know, really and true, the teams can use these cars for 3 years. If it's a 1997 Thunderbird they're using now, they can use it right through the year 2000.
Yeah, and I think we'll still continue to see Ford products on the racetrack. I don't think this means that we'll see Ford go away from racing, and I suspect it'll be the cars that they're using now.
Exactly. It's a Thunderbird, but the main thing, it says Ford on that car.
Exactly.
All right, we'll see Fords on the racetrack tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern time with our live coverage of qualifying. And, of course, that's at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, our live coverage of qualifying. You saw our schedule, followed by Busch Series racing and a full day of action on Sunday. Of course, stay with us. Coming up next, Stock Car Motorsports Explained with old DW. Darrell Waltrip will explain stock car racing next. See you tomorrow. Well, the rains have set in over Richmond International Raceway here in Richmond, Virginia. Bummer. That means qualifying washed away today, but we'll have it all tomorrow. A full slate of action, including our live coverage of Busch Pole qualifying for the Pontiac Excitement 400 at 11 a.m. Eastern time, followed by live coverage at 1 o'clock of the NASCAR Busch Grand National Series, Hardee's Fried Chicken 250, and, of course, happy hour at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So a full day of action coming your way tomorrow from Richmond International Raceway. We welcome you back to Richmond, Virginia, Richmond International Raceway. It is starting to lighten up a little bit here, and the track drying continues. As yet, they have not been able to get the track or pit road dry enough, and primarily the racetrack, to be able to allow any race cars, and it would be the Winston Cup cars that would go on the track initially for practice prior to the running of the Busch Grand National event. As you see, the track still quite damp, overcast. The crews continuing to work in the garage area. That's where Bill Weber is.
And the level of activity has really increased here in the Winston Cup garage. I'm with Larry McReynolds. If they win on 97 points, you'd be starting 11th. But they go on 96, you start 4th here with Dale Earnhardt tomorrow. Your thoughts on getting ready for this race with very limited practice time, Larry?
Well, actually, we'd be starting 19th if they went on 97 points. So, you know, we still would have liked to see qualify and get in. We come up here at the end of January and tested hard for 2 days with not only Dale but Mike Skinner. So we feel good about our race package and anxious to get out there and get a little bit of running in this afternoon. But if we don't, we're just going to have to revert back to that test, look at all of our notes, order some pizza in the hotel tonight and sift through it all and get ready to race.
You were 11th at Rockingham was the point I was trying to make. Obviously, you would have been deeper in the field if they went by this year's points. But Dale seemed very confident about coming here. I know he wanted to come here and test with you when you came over to this team.
Well, that was our first time spent together at a racetrack that you actually had to work on making the car drive better. You know, you go to Daytona for 2 test sessions and all you're doing is just trying to make it go faster. It's like the car drives the same. But it was neat to get up here and get our feet wet together, working on making the car drive better and not necessarily what makes it go faster.
Obviously, you'd like as much or as little time as you could get on the track. You'd like to get out there for a few laps.
It wouldn't hurt to go out there just to make sure nothing vibrates and the brakes work and all that. But, yeah, we don't want to see no 2 or 3 hours of practice. That may come back to bite me.
All right. Larry, good luck tomorrow.
Thanks.
That's Larry McReynolds, the crew chief for Dale Earnhardt. And obviously, the atmosphere around this team is extremely confident for running this race. I think they would have liked a little more practice time, but they've got a good spot in the starting field. And I anticipate Earnhardt running very well here on Sunday afternoon. Weather permitting, of course, Doctor.
Well, we're optimistic that our coverage tomorrow will begin at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. NASCAR Today is simulcast on both ESPN and ESPN2. Then our live flag-to-flag coverage Bob Jenkins will be here at 1 o'clock Eastern time. The 39th running in the Pontiac Excitement 400. Now, it's already been a good break, a break of sorts for Dale Earnhardt, who would have started 19th. Now he starts 4th tomorrow, and he's got a crew chief whose car, with Ernie Irvan aboard, won this race last fall.
So I would think that was a big advantage for Dale Earnhardt. And Ernie Irvan, Larry McReynolds obviously knows a lot about this racetrack because of Ernie Irvan winning the race, as you said. But Daytona, talking to Earnhardt and talking about them coming up here and testing, he was really high on the test and optimistic. And I think that's one reason he was so high on Larry McReynolds. They came to a short track where Earnhardt struggled last year and ran very well.
Earnhardt finished 31st and 20th in the 2 races at Richmond last year. And Ned, the concern now, we turn to the Busch Series drivers who have had no practice, and most of them, they only get 7 tests as well. Even the rookies only get 10 tests. A lot of question marks there. They're going to roll off with no chance to test their car.
Yeah, it's really going to be tough for a lot of those drivers because most of them didn't come here and test in preseason testing. Some of them did. Of course, that'll work to their advantage here today. And as we mentioned before, some of them have brand new race cars, and it's going to be a challenge for them, no doubt about it. But these are professional people. They know basically what they need, and they'll set the cars up so they can make adjustments during the race.
There's the channel lock car of Phil Parsons, who will start 6th. Our lineup today, well, the Hardee's Fried Chicken Challenge 250 coming your way live at 1 o'clock Eastern time here on the Deuce. Then it's the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Napa 200. Dave Despain will be out there in Tucson at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. And then a wild hour, happy hour, 6 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN2, that final 60-minute scramble of Winston Cup practice. And, of course, tonight, RPM tonight, the main man, Kenny Mayne, at 7 o'clock Eastern time. ESPN2 wrapping up all the action. And, of course, at 9:30 p.m. to sunny South Florida for kart pole qualifying, ESPN2. You've been watching Street Luge, and, boy, what an exciting event that is from Laguna Seca. They're on the corkscrew, and BP, that looks like that would be fun.
I wonder, would a heavy guy have a bigger advantage than a light? That might be my next career.
But you couldn't wear a helmet, Ken, because we'd never see your feet. We just see your belt. All right, Street Luge coming up in just a moment, and we'll be back here live at 1 o'clock for Busch Series action from Richmond. Back at Richmond International Raceway in Richmond, Virginia, it is starting to lighten up a little bit, and the track's starting to gray up some in the upper groove as the track drying continues. They're trying to now vacuum some of the water off pit road. They're using jet dryers, and we are standing by, hopefully, for some Winston Cup practice. Hello, everyone. Jerry Punch along with Benny Parsons and Ned Jarrett. Guys, why is it so important for the Winston Cup guys, Ned, to be able to get on the racetrack?
Well, one thing that they want to do is seat the brakes in. They have new brake pads on these cars, and if you don't get to seat them in, get heat in them, and then let them cool back off, you aren't going to have any brakes. You'll have a lot of pedal, but you won't have brakes. So that's one thing they would like to get out there and do, and they could actually do that on the track in the condition it's in right now.
And, you know, probably there's 7 or 8 cars that we're talking about. 35 of the cars probably would not have a problem if they never got on the racetrack. But 8 or 9 of those cars would have an oil line loose, a brake line loose, something wrong with the car that they would have to get in and fix. The trouble is, we don't know which 8 or 9 it's going to be.
That's the Winston Cup garage. How about the Busch Series garage, Ray Dunlap?
Well, guys, there's a lot of loose things hanging off the back of Phil Parsons' Channel Lock Chevrolet, and that's the backup car, fortunately. We're talking with Phil right here. Phil, you guys found a major problem. Maybe it was a bit of an advantage to have this rain delay.
Well, it really was. We really worked hard, the guys did, to get this car ready, and we got done about 1 o'clock Wednesday morning, and then we had to be here about 10 o'clock Thursday morning, so or actually 1 o'clock Wednesday night, whatever the case may be. But we normally this is something we would have caught at the shop. It's very important that the rear end housing is straight. In other words, the wheels aren't kicked out either way. And we just did a little cursory check on the thing this morning and saw that it was towed out, which is, any tow out is too much on a rear end housing. So we knew we had a good one in the backup car, so we just backed it out of the truck and jammed it out of there. I'm going to put it in a primary car, and shouldn't be any big problem.
Well, guys, this may be a very nice thing for Phil Parsons. Many of these drivers down here don't have a backup car.
Well, Phil will start 6th in the Channel Lock Chevrolet. Our coverage starts at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Hardee's Fried Chicken Challenge 250. Napa 200 coming up at 3:30. That's the Craftsman Truck Series. Happy hour, 6 o'clock Eastern time. Of course, tonight, RPM tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern. And kart pole qualifying from sunny South Florida at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Stick around here. We'll come back from some more later. And, of course, our live coverage of Busch Series racing action from Richmond at 1 o'clock Eastern. Stay with us. However,
they're all down here. They're very optimistic at this point, Jerry, that they will be able to get some time on the track today. This is the car of Terry Labonte. He'll start on the...
Phil.
What's up, Jeff?
I got it, man. I mean, there's no way we're going to get out there in that racetrack. I figured, you know, I got my tennis shoes on. I saw a lot of the other guys. We're just going to do it by foot.
One lap around the track?
One lap. I mean, if we just make it, it'll be saying something. But I think I can get in the top 5.
Yeah, top 5? That'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, BP?
Hey, Weber.
Yeah?
Tell him, don't remember the new NASCAR rule. He's got to carry 50 pounds of weight.
You'll have to carry 50 pounds of weight.
Well, now that changes everything. I mean, we've seen what that 50 pounds does to the race car, so that could definitely slow me down a couple tenths.
Okay, we'll work on that, all right?
Okay.
Good idea, though.
I'm going to go talk to NASCAR about it.
Okay, let us know what happens.
I'll let you know.
Okay, so some breaking news down here. I don't think that idea is going to fly, guys.
If they let everybody who made it back start the field, we wouldn't have a full field, I don't think. I don't think
No,
these
somebody
guys
wouldn't get back.
Exactly right.
But it is important for the guys to be able to get on the racetrack, for the Winston Cup cars to get out at least a few laps.
Just
Yeah.
a couple of laps.
Yeah, they can learn a lot in just a few laps that they could work on during the Busch race and then be ready for that happy hour a little bit later on.
And Jeff Gordon, he really shouldn't be complaining because under the new, starting by last year's points, he will start on the outside pole. Terry Labonte on the pole.
Of course, we'll be here at 1 o'clock Eastern time for our live flag-to-flag coverage, a NASCAR Busch Grand National Series event. That's the Hardee's Fried Chicken Challenge 250. And they started by points last year. Randy LaJoie will be on the pole. That's followed by the Napa 200 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Dave Despade and Company live at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. And, of course, if anything happens, if the Winston Cup cars do get on the racetrack, we will cover that action during happy hour at 6 o'clock Eastern time. We will show you if they turn a wheel in Winston Cup racing. We will show you at 6 o'clock. 7 o'clock tonight, RPM tonight, Kenny Mayne, and kart pole qualifying at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time from sunny South Florida. Coming up next, inside drag racing from Columbus, Ohio. Remember, we are back here live at 1 o'clock Eastern time for Busch Grand National action from Richmond International Raceway. See you then.